It's so stupid. Like, I don't understand.
It's something on YouTube that everyone gets affected by, but most people don't know deeply. And we're going to try to help you today understand the YouTube copyright system and how you can avoid getting one of the dreaded strikes here on The Boost by vidIQ. Jen, we're going to talk about something really important today.
Okay, it's happening.
YouTube copyright claims and strikes. Have you ever gotten a
We
claim
gotta
before?
learn about all this
I
shit,
get
bro.
claims all of the time.
Like, what the
I
fuck?
haven't gotten a strike before, but I feel like this is the most confusing thing
I just
on
don't
YouTube
understand how
for
it
a
was-
creator, just hands down.
And it's crazy because a lot of times when you see that copyright claim pop up in your studio, you panic. You're like, oh my God, it's over.
My channel's canceled.
But we should first probably talk about
That's
the differences
literally.
between a copyright claim and a copyright strike. But for all the other details, we actually have a YouTube lawyer. So you're going to get true and honest answers about how the YouTube copyright system works.
There's a real big difference between copyright claims and a strike. Claims, well, it can pretty much go in three different directions, and ultimately, it's just the umbrella over this money's not going to you. The content can stay out there, whatever you're being claimed for can stay in your video for most of the time. There's a little variation there, but you're not gonna get paid for it. Maybe it'll get split, probably belongs to someone else who might allow you to use it, but it's not that big of a deal. This one ultimately just comes down to monetization, and if you're okay with not getting paid on it, you can pretty much leave it in the video. This is really what I do. I like to use music in my videos, and a lot of the times we're like, hey, you can't do that. Well, at least we're not gonna pay you. You can do it, we're just not gonna pay you for it. And then someone else collects from all my hard work. When we're talking about strikes, 3 strikes, you're out. And I feel like it is so uncommon to get a strike that we're not gonna put a lot of focus on really what happens to get those strikes, because I can say I've never worked with a creator, I'll knock on wood for my creators, I've never worked with a creator who's come to me with an actual strike.
Yeah, typically those are really edge cases. They rarely happen anymore because, especially if it comes to music, you're mostly getting claimed for that, so you don't get to have the monetization, as Jen said. Strikes are typically a lot more scary, especially if you get 3 and 90 days, your channel is deleted. So, copyright claims. How does the process work? Well, Jen and I don't have to tell you. We actually have a lawyer that can tell you. Ian
So, like, am I gonna get a strike because I'm listening to this now? Like, I don't understand.
Corzine has his own YouTube channel.
I thought I could
here,
watch
and he is an
YouTube channels.
amazing content creator and lawyer who's been doing this stuff for over 20 years. Let's see what he has to say.
Just take you through the copyright strike process. Generally, it's initiated from what's called a DMCA takedown notice. And that means, in this world of mass media, most of the time, one of these striking companies that works for Sony Pictures, let's say, has found your content through the YouTube database, and it's decided that they want to have you take it down. A copyright strike appears on your account, and then sometimes you have 7 days to make some edits to your content to be able to take out that copyrighted content. Sometimes it's an immediate takedown, and the next step is either an appeal to YouTube or what's called a counter notification. And that's generally when I come in. I'm the guy that say, listen, Ian, what do I say in this response to the copyright strike? How can I convey that this is properly not copyright infringement? And so a lot of our discussions talks about whether or not you got permission, where did you get this clip, what was the context for this clip? That's kind of the process.
Okay, that was awesome, but let's move on to fair use. This is a term that I think we throw around YouTube all the time. What does it actually mean? To be honest, I don't even know if I know what it actually means. What I think it means is that nobody has copyright ownership over something, but I can't even say that confidently. I don't even know if that's the truth. Travis?
I think it's funny. If you're in the comments right now, leave us a comment before you watch this next section. What do you think fair use means? For me, I think fair use means that you're using copyrighted content in a way that it has been delineated in the law as being okay. But let's not try to figure out if Jen
what
and
the
I
fuck
can
does
give you
that
any
mean,
kind
bro?
of this advice, because we're definitely gonna be wrong. Let's find out what Ian has to say about what fair use really is.
You can use someone else's content in your videos without their permission if you do something that sufficiently transforms that work of art and it makes it your own. And I've said this so many times, and I know it sounds kind of made up and it sounds just unclear, but I want to get to the root of it. And really the root of it is this. If I were to show a 15-minute clip of Obi Kenobi,
Hello there.
If I were to share a 15-minute clip on my YouTube channel, would people be coming to my channel to watch that particular scene for its entertainment value? Or would they be coming there to watch me? And chances are they would not be coming to watch me. They would just want to see the Star Wars show and see what happened. If I put that 15-minute clip on my channel, I wouldn't transform it because people are not really there for me. I have to make my own art that builds upon the Star Wars show. So how do I do that? Well, under Title 17 U.S. Code Section 107, which is a federal law that's basically adopted by YouTube, it says, listen, here are some examples of de facto transformation. In other words, things that you can do which we just recognize as fair use. And one of those is commentary. And YouTube even takes it a step further. They recognize reaction. But we'll talk about commentary first. We're talking about the law. The law basically says if you are discussing this and you are making critical opinions about Obi-Wan Kenobi and you're saying it's bad or you're saying it's good, then we want that. And frankly, a lot of the studios want it too because it boosts up the popularity of the art.
That was pretty cool, but did you know that if you're teaching something and using copyrighted material that you're still protected under fair use? Here's what Ian had to say about that.
Another one is teaching. A good example is, boy, it's hard to get Drake music in your YouTube video and not get a claim or a copyright strike, but you can if you are a beat creator and you want to teach how unique those bass drums are in Drake's music, but there's certain things you'd have to adhere to. And I want to kind of take you through those too. If you're teaching the content and people are showing up to learn about how to make a Drake song, not to listen to a Drake song, then that's transformation. News reporting is another one. We see it all the time. There's lots of people out there that are reporting on the news. I do a lot of that. I will say that there's a new little thing that's happening in the live stream area, and I'm sure you've seen, I know Emily D. Baker's been on the vidIQ channel. We're seeing mass live streaming, right? It's kind of unexplainable, but we're seeing a lot of lawyers and other people literally just putting CNN or some channel on their channel, and we're watching it together with commentary. Now, commentary is great. However, there's so many gaps between the actual copyrighted content and the commentary that we're going to probably see some problems going forward. Also, we're going to start seeing some corporations are saying, like CNN as an example, we're getting 500,000 views of our content on our channels and their streaming platform just went down. And we're seeing that Legal Bytes is getting 100,000 an hour. They're trying to do their best to use some commentary, which would be honor of fair use. Critique, of course, is another concept for fair use. And then, of course, there's another category of fair use, which is just, it's not identified. It's just that it's sufficient transformation and it's a subjective determination. In other words, a judge or a jury looking at it has to make their own conclusion about whether or not that's fair use.
So that was really interesting, but a
So
lot of
they
people
would
wanna
want
know
me to go
how
to fucking
much of
court,
copyrighted content can
some
you
sort of
use
court, to
without getting
get
a
a
claim
fucking
or a
strike
strike.
removed.
Jen,
That's like
what do you think it
insanity.
is?
I've had different experiences with this, and I think it depends on the song, the artist, who owns it, how protected it is, because I've been flagged in a bar from having literally 1 second of Justin Timberlake playing in the background where they wouldn't allow that footage to be on YouTube, period. And then I've sang in the car for half a song, and someone was like, we don't really care.
Let's see what Ian says about this.
There's nowhere that this is enshrined in law. It is not in the copyright rules of YouTube. It's not in the terms of service, but I have to tell creators sometimes that a bright line rule is don't use more than 2 to 5 seconds of clips, if at all possible. If there is an exception, obviously there is fair use with 30 seconds. There's been fair use with a minute. There has been. But if you're really trying to plan out your video and it's all about something you're reviewing, do your best to limit these times and realize that every time you go over this amount, you're adding risk. So is the laugh or the teaching moment really worth the risk of, one, getting a copyright strike, getting a claim, losing all revenue for that video, or worse, getting a copyright infringement claim? So 2 to 5 seconds, that's kind of the sweet spot to be able to avoid copyright claims.
There's a concept that Ian came up with a while back, which I think is amazing, and it's called Don't Take the Heart. This is something that I've never heard anyone talk about before, and here's what he has to say about it.
You never want to take the heart of someone else's content. Whenever you're thinking about creating art that's a review style type art, let's say, again, I go back to the Star Wars thing, Luke, I am your father. You want to talk about that. Well, realize that particular part of the video where you talk, I'm your father, you can't show that scene. You're going to have to come up with animation. You're going to have to come up with images images or slides, or just paint a picture with your words, because the heart is the thing that you're going to get slammed for. Always think about your content. If you're going to do a whole review of Star Wars, identify before where are the important points that you're going to hit on. If one of those important points is the heart of the movie, that part where there's a big lightsaber scene, realize that that's going to be a part you're not going to be able to put on your YouTube video. You're going to have to use the clips from the more subsidiary parts of the movie.
So that's all great, but what if you get a claim that just doesn't seem legitimate? It doesn't add up, and you're just really kind of questioning if this is really true. What do we do? Let's see if Ian has an answer for this situation.
They care about the big boys. They're making
Door right
so
here. You
much
want to check if it's
money,
open?
right? So sometimes people think that if they give some pushback, then YouTube's going to penalize them
And he
somehow
broken
for
right.
the next video or demonetize them. They don't have time.
That's-
They really don't. So don't feel bad if you have a legitimate claim like that sounds. Like, I wrote the freaking song, I recorded it, and I got a copyright claim or a strike or whatever it ended up being. You can push back.
So you got a lot of legal advice. It didn't cost you any money, just cost you a little bit of time. But that does leave one last question. I know you're watching other YouTube channels, and I know you see them using all types of copyrighted content, and they seem to be fine. They're still running ads. Everything seems fine. Why can't you do that? From the outside looking in, there's one thing you can't tell, and that is if those videos are even being monetized by that creator. Just remember, just because you see ads on a video does not mean that that creator is A, monetizing the video, because YouTube's already told us that they can monetize non-monetized videos, and B, that they're getting any of that money. That could be going directly to the copyright holder. So sure, you can see it elsewhere, and you might see ads, but that does not mean that creator's making any money off of any of those videos.
Well, that's like when we see creators who aren't even monetized yet having ads roll in their videos. A similar situation, YouTube's in it to make their money.
If this was It's something on YouTube that everyone gets affected by, but most people don't know deeply. And we're going to try to help you today understand the YouTube.
From my work as your social media lawyer, I spend a lot of time reviewing videos to determine whether or not they're legal under fair use. In fact, I recently helped my good friend Armando Ferreira prove that he followed fair use in a recent video. If you want to watch that video, just click right there. Today, I'm going to show you clips from 3 more creators who I call the masters of fair use. I'm going to show you the techniques they use so that you can use them in your videos and not get copyright strikes. Does it sound good? So who are the masters of fair use on YouTube? For the first one, let me give you a little hint. PewDiePie. PewDiePie is amazing with this fair use technique. Now check this out. All right, here we go.
Hey, how's it going, boy? My strange addiction, eating sand. I can't stop eating sand.
Now, first I want to set this up. This is a TLC show where they talk about strange things that people do. And the first thing, before he even sets up the clip, is he makes fun of it. He says, I can't stop eating sand. That is a great lead-in for using borrowed video content in your YouTube videos because you're giving commentary and you're making a parody out of it. You're making fun of the particular video that you're looking at. Let's look at some more.
It just, why? I need to know this.
My name is
Aw,
Brian.
girl.
I'm 19 years old.
I'm 19.
All right, now let's take it through it. That was an amazing use of fair use of the TLC content. If you look, not only is PewDiePie making fun of this particular clip, but he's using very short portions of the actual TLC show. Let me take you back right around here.
Did you know that live streams can get you
If you tried live streaming events on YouTube, you'd likely encountered the surprise of having your stream suddenly interrupted or blocked entirely due to copyright claims. This happens because YouTube uses an automated system to detect your copyrighted music playing in the background. Even if it's just ambient music at a venue you don't control, it can be enough to take down your stream. I know how frustrating it is after spending time setting up a professional stream to see it either interrupted or blocked. In this video, I'll explain exactly why YouTube cracks down on copyrighted audio, some temporary workarounds, and better options designed to avoid these problems altogether. Stream offline. Millions of minutes of videos are uploaded or streamed.
Alright, so this is the most important thing. If you want to become a YouTuber, that is copyright claims. If you want to avoid copyright claims here on YouTube, you need to follow this regulation. Regulation number 1 is never reuse other people's content, such as video, image, or background music. And regulation number 2 is film yourself. So try to use a camera, your smartphone, GoPro, or stuff like that to film your video. And pay attention to the background music. If there is any background music in your video, you have to mute it or remove it. But what if you already reuse other people's content and you got a copyright claims? Don't panic, just delete that video from YouTube and your YouTube channel is safe. If you want to learn more about YouTube tips and tricks, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So, one of the most popular questions I get on right before I had posted it, there were no copyright claims. But as soon as I posted it, for some reason, I guess it took that a little bit longer for it to process. But what you'll see up here is these copyright important notifications right here. You'll see that this is where the copyright claims come up. So you can see that there's a lot of them, and we're gonna go pretty in depth in this. And then, by the way, I want to make a video on how I film all my reaction videos, so stay tuned for that. But that's gonna be a really in-depth video. Here we're just gonna talk about copyright claims. So when you upload a video, use somebody else's song, if they have some sort of copyright on it, and it gets claimed, YouTube is very, very smart in it. It knows. It very much knows. Like, I'll even put like a 20-second clip of my song in a video. Or actually, that's a bad example, because I recently, maybe about a month ago, took off 100% copyrights of my songs on YouTube because I want other artists to use my songs for reactions or in their videos or anything like that. So I wanted to avoid that because, you know what, I'm relying on other artists right now to make my income by doing reactions to their stuff. So if other smaller artists want to use my songs, then cool, man, I'm totally for it. So I'm not even gonna ask for the money. That being said, let's talk about this right now. So when you upload a video, it gets claimed. There's three main different types of claims. There's an actual copyright claim, which just makes it ineligible for making money. That's really the only thing. The only other problem you might have is when it gets blocked. But this is something that I just recently learned. So let's go into here and I'll show you what it looks like. If you say view options, important. This is where you can gotta go in. It says video can't be monetized because the content ID claim. That's what they do. It's very stinking smart, man. How they get on it. So what you can do though is you can actually go in and dispute the claim. So I'll show you what I have in my thing and how I dispute them. So right now this video is viewable, but it can't be monetized. But watch what happens. I'm going to go to my notes really quick. I'm going to copy my thing because I have a thing written out. I'll put it in the description actually, so copy it. Okay, now I'll put in my description, or maybe I'll put it as a comment. So I hit dispute. I said my dispute isn't based on, I would look these over, make sure that it's not the case. I personally say no because I know that I'm not. I go for fair use because reaction videos and explanations and breakdowns are fair use. I don't know about reactions actually, but the breakdowns and stuff are fair use. I hit this, and then I copy and paste my thing. You can hear Bullet, my dog, is saying what's up to the, oh my gosh, he's freaking out the mailman right now. He's a very nice dog, which is funny, but here we go. So now I click all these things. So so if you go here, there's a whole bunch of different options actually. There's like promotional videos, news reports, nonprofit. Depending on also how it gets claimed. For example, there's ones for sharing. If you do covers, it'll identify it as saying, oh, you used the melody in this song in a different video or in your video. And when you do that, down here will be one called a cover video. So what you're doing is you're saying that you believe that you shouldn't have a copyright claim, and what you're doing is you're sending it to the company, essentially, whoever the claimer is. Now obviously I wouldn't as a musician get it, but if I had mine copyright claimed, the company that is doing the claim, I guess the publisher maybe, whatever the case is, they would get the claim and they would have to dispute it, or they would have to either allow it or disallow it. So you provide your rationale, you hit submit. It takes a decent amount of time, but then I'll show you now what it looks like when it goes through. So here's what happens with the monetization. See, now it's held in escrow. So there's three options right here. One, it automatically turns on because if you just dispute it, sometimes they allow you just to turn it right on and you can start making money. Two, it goes into escrow. What that means is it's held for 28 days or until they answer your dispute. So actually 30 days. If they don't respond in 30 days, no response, then automatically turns on. If they do respond and allow it, then you get to keep the money. If they respond and say, no, sorry, you can't use this, then one or two things will happen. Either the video will get blocked,
Bro,
which
I'm so annoyed.
happens.
Like I
posted
don't understand why that did that.
1,200 reaction videos, and I think 3 of them ended up getting
Alright,
blocked.
I'll turn it
after
off,
the fact.
guys. Have a good
And
one.
then